Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Stierle and Tom Hazard, to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard, along with your host, Bill Stierle. And boy, Bill, this virus is really taken over, hasn't it?
Really has.
Not just lives and people's need for safety and protection, but it's taken over the president or the presidency, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. There's no distractive alternate narrative they can focus on, because that's what a crisis does. Is a crisis brings you to say, we need to focus this. We can't spin off of this thing, and there's no way to get out of, or in a weird way to say it is, there's no way to say, you know what, I'm tired of this company, I'm going to file bankruptcy and let the attorneys take care of it from here on out, and I can, get out of this and leave and say, well, Trump Airlines didn't work, so I'm out. Trump steaks didn't work. Trump vodka didn't work. You see what I mean? It's like, you can't get out of this, because this is the marathon that government needs to play. I mean, with the public servant, they've got to stay in it for a long period of time, because that's what stability in government looks like. Stability doesn't run like businesses. Government doesn't run like businesses. Stability is what government is for. And you can run elements of it efficiently, but some elements you can't run efficiently because you're playing the marathon, you're not running the sprint. Businesses are run on a quarter by quarter sprint. Yes, they do future projections. Yes, they do this, but could any business have planned for a virus? No. A government's job is to plan for a virus.
It is. And, regrettably, this administration did not take that seriously.
They didn't take it seriously because their mindset was not in it for the marathon. It was in it for the sprint. There's been some that have said that Trump wasn't expected to win. You're right. He wasn't. We had the chance to have the person that had the resume to run the marathon. But as soon as he says, well, I don't think you have any stamina. And she goes, stamina? Have you ever sat 11 hours straight on anything in a meeting with, over a hearing this? Have you ever flown to 57 countries in a year? Have you ever done that? It's like, I kind of have the stamina thing down, but that didn't stick.
No,
that didn't stick. So one of the challenges with truth here is that we only have our language to really get an established truth. And that if you don't want to get truth, you can use your language as a virus. And the virus of language is, how do I get somebody to feel doubt about truth, and then the person gets sick and confused and numb and distracted and shut down, because they're basically, I'm holding my hands up with both of my ears, they start arguing with themselves because of, you put the virus of language in, And now all of a sudden they feel doubt, they feel skeptical, they feel hesitant, they feel nervous, they feel scared. And what does a person do when they scared? They shut down. They stop moving into action. And that's a little bit about what we're experiencing right now.
Well, and it seems that it's interesting, the language is being used as a virus to try to purchase truth right now is
Right.
what the president and the administration are doing, and he's doing it because the virus is something he can't control, and or he's trying to, though. I guess he's trying
It
to
is the
market
ultimate
his
challenge.
way out of it, right? And
It's his ultimate challenge. Yeah.
It occurred to me that, some of what he's been doing, of course, lately, he's tried to blame the Obama administration for not preparing his administration for the virus. That's one way that he's putting out languaging and messages that are trying to purchase truth, saying, "Oh, it's not my fault because the previous administration hadn't prepared for this and didn't have a plan." And of course, the facts are not in alignment with that. That's come out that, in fact, they had a 69-page playbook and they had a whole office to deal with that at the White House, which in, I think, 2017 or 18, the Trump administration disbanded and disregarded the playbook.
Right.
And so they were not prepared. And, more recently, the president is trying to say that, oh, the number of cases you're hearing in the news, there really aren't that many. The number of deaths, there really aren't that many. And so
I feel
interesting.
sad and disheartened because, when a person says a sentence like that, they're just using a strategy of language as a virus to basically paralyze, numb the person, and getting the person to shut down, to not participate, and not have, the level of awareness. It's a trick that language causes, to take place, and the trick causes the brain to shut down. And, Tom, in the past, you and I have done this a little bit with that the back part of the brain is like an elephant and that the front part of the brain is like a little rider on top of the elephant. Do you remember that metaphor? And it was probably, way, a long time ago, I guess, that we did this, maybe several months ago. And it's worth our time and energy to revisit that. It's like, how is language being used as a virus to literally shut a person down?
I think it is worth revisiting. Didn't that have to do with the elephant brain, maybe somewhat? Or
It did. And I let me bring that slide or that image back up, and then for the people who are just listening to audio, we'll do a good job of describing it, so that you're hearing about the things that we're really kind of talking about. And so what winds up happening is that if I am sharing this with you, and Tom, can you see the
I can
thing? Okay, yes. Great. So that means it's going to show up on the video and stuff. And see, this elephant, it's like the back part of the brain and the front part of the brain communicate very, very differently. A lot of our language centers are kind of like, it's generally speaking, is a little more on the upper or left part of the brain, whereas our visual and creative parts of the brain kind of lights up a little bit more on the upper right stuff. So we've got this logical, analytical language thing over here, and then we've got this visionary, big picture thing here, and that's like the writer, the little man sitting on top of the elephant, and that person has a stick that they tap the elephant a little bit on the right and a little bit on the left to get the elephant, or essentially the herd of elephants, all to move in the same direction. So what does the human being do, though? Well, if this part of the brain has 400,000 neuro connections per micron up in the front part of the brain, well, the back part of the brain has 4.3 million. So Tom, it's a 1 to 10 ratio. So this literally is a this gets 10 times more evidence or action. And this regrettably is where both the emotion, lower right, and the safekeeping part of the brain, lower left, those two parts of the brain then says, well, I'm going to put this in long-term memory that this is not safe. And if it's not safe, then I am not going to go there. So why did that slogan one time come up is that, well, you have the memory of an elephant, is the elephant brain is remembering and putting and assigning emotion to it so it doesn't move. So what winds up happening is that writer part of the brain really works with these really short, clear messages, and it makes a specific direction, and it needs direction in meetings. So a lot of the press conferences that we're going through, Tom, is literally people trying to tap the message right or left. And then Trump goes, well, why are you tapping the message that way? What you should be doing as reporters is helping me sell the message that I want to sell. We don't want you to look at the truth of the danger. We just want your reporter's job is to sell my message.
From his perspective. Yeah.
From his perspective. Why don't you just tell a positive story? Why are you telling the negative story? Well, we're asking questions to find out about the truth. Whether it's negative or positive is not much what we're looking at right now. We're not looking at that. We're looking for factual accuracy. When did you do this? How did this work? How did this thing take place? He's going like, wait a minute, you're trying to get the herd of elephants that I'm trying to move in this direction to pay attention? I don't want them to pay attention. I just want them to keep marching to reopen the country, and I want them to keep marching to like me and to buy things from me, because that's what I do as a person that markets and sells. I am only going to promote how great this thing is. Meanwhile, I am not going to look at how much money I'm losing. I am not going to look at the long-term cost. All I'm interested in is the short-term benefit that I'm going to get. So in our current narrative, we've got many people's elephants sitting down. Now, Tom, you might even had conversations with people that says, oh my gosh, Trump is going to win again. Well, why is he going to win again? Because he has done a great job of getting his herd to march in the same direction, and then have a media instrument to also walk in the same direction. So here's what we're doing, and we're taking cues. We're all walking in the same direction because we are hijacking people's elephant brain to follow us. And we don't want them to think black and white. We don't want to think them gray. We want them to think black and white. And that's how you trick the elephant. Just go in this one direction. Tap, 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 tap. Go in the direction. Tap. Nope. There's a danger over here. Nope. I want you to look at this other thing, not at this dangerous thing. Meanwhile, the dangerous thing is a virus that there's no way that there is ability to control or contain at the current moment, right?
Right.
So, and so what winds up happening is they're trying to shape the path not by creating meaningful changes or dealing with challenges in a meaningful way. I just want us to firefight our way as the building is burning, and so we can get out of the building and go like, see, so what, we file bankruptcy. So what, our national respect, international respect is damaged. I got out okay. I fulfilled the term. I wasn't reported, accurately. I fulfilled my vision. I got a lot of great things done. Look at all the judges I did. Look at all the, this, and all of a sudden he gets to put the promotional hat back on. So there's the conscious mind is the writer. The subconscious mind is the elephant that's responding to emotions and safety and habit and imprinting. And the environment that we're in, shaping the path of the environment. Tom, we don't have a clear path right now to reopen. We don't.
No, there's a lot of uncertainty there.
And so was this helpful on the video? Because I can then jump out of the video. So at least
very, very helpful. I think it is very helpful. But what occurs to me though in that is that the elephant is being distracted from reality, distracted from facts, to serve the rider.
To serve the rider.
Is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
And so it occurs
rider.
to me what we're seeing here is the president is continuing to try to distract from the facts, to say, I couldn't have done a better job. It's not my fault. It's Obama's fault. Or, there aren't really as many deaths. The media is reporting that wrong. Don't pay attention to that. We've been doing a great job. Nobody could have done a better job. And it seems that it's all about him and not about the people and their need for safety, security, economic security,
and protection. I'm going to pick my identity narrative over truth and protection and safety and the ability to protect you. I'm not. People die all the time. One person posted. I'm going like, well, not if it's your person, not if it's your mom or your dad, because once they're gone, they're gone. Or in my case, my uncle. It's like, hey, my uncle's in a nursing home. He gets COVID and he dies. That's not a good narrative for us to, for him, because unless somebody personally experiences it, then it's not true, or then it's true until it's like, no. You don't have to go that. You can extend trust, which most Americans are doing, go like, hey, I might not have been affected by it, but I don't want to be affected by it. So I'm wearing a mask. I'm not affected by it, but I don't want to be affected by it. So I'm changing my work life. That's what people are doing. I'm changing my behavior. I am staying home and helping my kids out more, because what else am I going to do? They're doing that.
Well, and I mean, truly, America is being changed in profound ways. I don't know if you saw this, but it was reported in the news yesterday that the CEO of Twitter has announced that the vast majority of their workers can work from home forever, saying they never have to come back into the office unless they're a very specific kind of job that needs an office. I mean, clearly they're not going to need as big an office anymore, I think. But, things are changing here significantly.
Yeah. I mean, commercial real estate, what's that going to look like? Restaurants, what are those going to look like? Our choices on where we're going to spend our time and energy, all those things are starting to change. Do you travel beyond a 5-mile radius now? And what does that do to the car industry? What does that do to the fuel industry? It is the fuel industry. They're sucking eggs right now. Why? Yeah. No one's driving and using their product.
And no one's flying.
It's like, somebody had a report. One of their friends lives in India. They're seeing clear skies again. They're going like, oh, we like clear skies. Yeah. We want more of those clear skies. How can we? No, it's like climate change.
I'm surprised we haven't heard Trump say, "You have me to thank for a cleaner environment now." I mean, trying to put a positive, languaging on that.
and you know what? That would be the best question that a reporter could ask him. Listen, I want to let you know that I'm really I feel grateful for you, for Mr. President, because one of the things that I've been concerned about, and I really feel grateful for all the success that you've made in, changing the environment, because it's really done great that we're not driving, because now we can breathe cleaner air. And I really appreciate that. It's meeting the need for acknowledgement, which is a piece of bait in the water that he can take.
Yeah.
And he's going like, and would he take it? Absolutely, he would take it.
Sure, he would.
And then all of a sudden, 3 days later, he's going to backtrack. He's going to go like, well, yeah, I said that, but we don't want to do it at expense for the fossil industry. And all of a sudden it's going like, well, yeah, we do. Yeah, that's okay.
That's the thing.
Most Americans go like,
phone calls from the CEO of ExxonMobil, and
what are you doing? And then all of a sudden he becomes more of a liability to them. He's going like, he can't handle it. He cannot handle praise and acknowledgement for things we don't want him to say or do. And the media is still missing that, because they're still trying to beat him up on truth. You can't beat the guy up on truth, because that's not what marketing and sales people do. They're used to hearing no's. They're so tempered about having rejection. He is not interested about rejection. All he's interested about is getting the sale. I mean, it's a very, very different way to think about it. And that's how truth gets purchased. And I mean, and we are in a new place of rewriting our nation and rewriting our narrative about what the new normal is going to look like. I mean, that's something that we've, as individuals and as a nation, we got to go, well, we are a world economy. We are a collaborative species when we want to be. And while we now are really looking at the values of going like, do I really need to work overtime to buy stuff that I'm really not going to use because I'm only staying in a 5-mile radius anyways? No, I don't have to work that hard. Why? And what's vacation's going to look like? Oh my gosh. It's like, this is, I mean, I can't say this this is the scariest thing I'm going to say, Tom, but I mean, Trump is a significant wound in capitalism. He is the thing that he's promoting has got stab wounds in it right now. I mean, it's bleeding.
Well, it does. And this is the one
so hard
situation that he hasn't dealt with ever before. And it may be out of his control, even using, language as a virus to purchase truth.
Yeah.
He may not be able to overcome it. You can only do, if you're the wizard behind the curtain pulling the levers, only so much you can do to keep Toto from peeling that curtain back, That's right. Yeah. So that's the great metaphor of you're making yourself really big about this, and you're the guy that's pulling the lever, and you're this meek, self-absorbed little adult child that's pulling these letters, just to use a little bit of judgmental language to go forward. But really what's happening is there's an unawareness and a non-skill in the position he's in. He's not a public servant. He is a businessman that has had a lot of money to throw at various different business ventures that, some of them, the real estate part has been successful. Other of them has not been successful. And Bill, what's really clear is his lack of empathy in dealing with this is just painfully obvious and sorely needed by a nation that has all of these needs of safety and protection.
Yeah, I feel sad and disheartened about because the need for really kind of protection and truth, protection, safety, go under the bus, because in the short term, when, one elephant dies, people go, oh, that elephant died. And then when 50 elephant guys goes, oh, isn't that a tragedy? 50 elephant dies. And as soon as the number gets above that, our human brain really struggles with believing the large number because it's incomprehensible. We'll fight for social justice for one person. And meanwhile, we'll put 1,000 people in jail that are in worst case because, well, that's a different category. I just want justice for this one person because I can identify and I can see and empathize with this one person. But empathizing with 85,000 people that have died in the United States, it's not until I tell the story about my uncle that all of a sudden it becomes real. That all of a sudden people start listening to me. It was my uncle in a nursing home that was not protected. Yes, he was 85 years old, but does it mean that we get to protect only the strong people, not the feeble, not the children, and not the older adults? It's like we've got to do a check-in, because if we're that 85-year-old, and one day, hopefully we will be, wouldn't it be great if we had somebody protecting us and that we could trust in this system of government that knew how to be a public servant? I think, yeah.
I think most of us would want that.
Yeah. So Tom, next time, let's take a look at how can we get the elephant to restore the next economy? How can we get the writer to create a clear vision moving forward? How can we get make some meaning out of these challenges that we're in? How do we, double down on the business or the vision of getting back to work as human beings that are living on this planet? And then start creating those short messages that, certain politicians can adopt, certain business leaders can adopt. Let's go ahead and do that and get things to go better.
Okay, sounds good, Bill. I look forward to that.
All right, more to come. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.